Emotional eating. You know, that magical moment when a tub of ice cream becomes cheaper than therapy. But what happens when you're on a GLP-1 drug like Ozempic, Wegovy, or Mounjaro? Does it cure your food cravings for good? Or just put them on mute? And if it's muted, does that mean you're healed? Or just emotionally numb? Picture this. You've had a horrible day. Your boss yelled at you. Your cat knocked over your coffee. And your phone auto-corrected your text to your crush into something mildly illegal. Normally, you'd end the night with a pizza, a cookie, and maybe a second pizza. But now, you're on GLP-1. You open the fridge and nothing looks good. No craving. No emotion en el pool. Sounds like a miracle, right? Well, maybe. Or maybe we've just turned down the volume on emotional eating, without actually fixing what's behind it. What emotional eating really is, and why it's not just about food. Narrator. Emotional eating isn't really about being hungry. It's about soothing discomfort. Stress, loneliness, boredom, sadness. Food becomes the coping mechanism. When you eat, your brain releases dopamine, the same reward chemical that lights up when you win money, get a hug, or watch your favorite TV show. That's why emotional eating works. Temporarily. The problem? Your body gets used to that dopamine hit, and over time, you need more food to get the same emotional comfort. So the issue isn't just too much appetite. It's too much emotional reliance on appetite. How GLP-1s change the brain around food. GLP-1 drugs slow gastric emptying, make you feel full longer, and importantly, alter reward pathways in the brain. Brain scans on GLP-1 users show less activation in the mesolimbic dopamine system when looking at high-calorie foods. Translation. A triple chocolate brownie doesn't light up your brain like it used to. This is why people say things like, "It's weird, food just isn't exciting anymore." But here's the kicker. That's not necessarily curing emotional eating, it's silencing the physical pull toward food. The emotional triggers? Still there, lurking, waiting for the day you stop the shots. Addiction versus numbness. Think of it like painkillers after surgery. You might not feel pain while taking them, but the injury still exists. With GLP-1s, you might not feel intense cravings, but the habit loops, emotional triggers, and stress responses can still be wired into your brain. When researchers looked at people who stopped GLP-1 treatment, many reported that their food noise came back, sometimes louder than before. That's because the emotional reasons for eating, the stress, loneliness, anxiety, never got addressed. Real stories. I'm not hungry but I still eat. Let's get real. Some GLP-1 users find themselves eating emotionally even when they're not physically hungry. Here's what they say. I can only eat 3 bites before I'm full, but I still reach for those bites when I'm stressed. I don't get the same food high anymore, but I still eat out of habit when I'm sad. It's like my stomach is full, but my brain is still lonely. What this shows is that emotional eating can survive even without hunger, because it's about comfort, not calories. The risk of emotional numbing. GLP-1s can also have an emotional dampening effect. Some users report feeling less excitement or motivation in general, not just about food. This could be because reward pathways for food overlap with reward pathways for other pleasures. If those signals are muted, you might feel a general emotional flatness. And while that might sound nice for avoiding cake, it's not so great if you also stop feeling joy about hobbies, relationships, or life in general. Breaking the cycle while on GLP-1. If you're on GLP-1 and want to truly break free from emotional eating, you have to work on the root causes, not just the symptoms. Here are science-backed ways. Mindful eating. Pay attention to why you want to eat before you eat it. Is it hunger? Or is it stress? Find new dopamine sources. Replace food with activities that give you joy. Walking, calling a friend, creative hobbies. Stress management. Meditation, deep breathing, journaling. All proven to reduce emotional triggers for eating. Therapy or coaching. A professional can help you build new coping skills. Routine check-ins. Ask yourself daily, what am I feeling right now? And how can I respond without food? What happens when you stop the shot? Here's the reality no one likes to talk about. GLP-1s are not a permanent force field around your cravings. The moment you stop the injections, your body will try to return to its set point. the weight and eating patterns it's been defending for years. And if your emotional eating habits were never truly addressed, it's like opening the floodgates. That old friend called emotional hunger strolls right back in, maybe even stronger than before. Why stronger? Because your brain remembers the reward patterns. It remembers how food made you feel. And after months of low dopamine eating, your brain might crave the old highs even more. In studies where people discontinued GLP-1s, many regained a significant amount of weight within a year. This wasn't just because they got hungrier. It was because their emotional coping systems defaulted back to food. Here's the big takeaway. If you use your time on GLP-1s to rewire your relationship with food and build new coping strategies, you'll have a defense system in place when the medication ends. If you don't, you're walking into a storm with no umbrella. The takeaway. Think of GLP-1 as noise-canceling headphones for your appetite. It turns down the static of cravings, making it easier to think clearly about your choices. But just like noise-canceling headphones can't make a bad song sound good, GLP-1 alone can't fix the underlying playlist in your head, the habits, the coping mechanisms, and the emotions that drive your eating. Here's the truth. GLP-1 is a tool, not a cure. It can help you quiet the cravings, but it can't teach you how to listen to yourself. If you've ever eaten when you weren't hungry, you know the food isn't really the solution. It's the hug you didn't get, the stress you didn't release, the boredom you didn't fill. So the next time you find yourself opening the fridge just because something feels off, stop. Ask yourself, what am I really hungry for right now? Because when you learn to feed that, your emotional hunger, with love, connection, movement, creativity, or peace, that's when you're no longer addicted. And you're definitely not numb. You're free.